Okay, let's do 2 more questions and we're done with this topic. For question 5, this question is actually from C1 May 2016, question 8. Okay, so start off with part A. Straight line with equation y equals to 3x minus 7 does not cross or touch the curve with the equation y equals to 2px squared minus 6px plus 4x, where p is a constant. So if the equation of this straight line is not touching the curve, which means that there's no solution. Okay, what if there's no solution? Then b squared minus 4ac would be smaller than 0. And how can we get a, b, and c? Simple. Just make 3x minus 7 equals to 2px squared minus 6px plus 4p, sorry. Okay, so next step would be, I'm gonna swap these two things. The whole thing from the left, I will move it to the right, and the whole thing from the right, I will move it to the left. So 4px squared minus 6px plus 4p is equals to 3x minus 7. Okay, I'm just gonna clean this up. 2px squared and minus 6px minus 3x, which would be plus minus 6p minus 3x plus 4p, because if minus 7 moved to left, would be positive, plus 7 equals to 0. Okay, so if we have to follow this equation, b squared minus 4ac, which would be minus 6p minus 3 squared minus 4 2p, because 2p is a, b, and c. Okay, ac smaller than 0. So to clean this up, minus 6p squared would be equals to 36p squared. Minus 6p times minus 3 would be plus 18p. And minus 3 times minus 6p would be plus 18p. And minus 3 squared would be plus 9. Minus 8p times 4p plus 7 smaller than 0. And to carry on, 36p squared plus 36p plus 9 minus 4 times 8 would be 32p squared minus 8 times 7 would be minus 56p, smaller than 0. And so the final answer would be 36p squared minus 32p squared would be 4p squared. 36p minus 56p would be equals to minus 20p and plus 9, smaller than 0. And this is how you show this equation here. Okay, for part B, they want us to find a set of positive value. Okay, so basically you just have to find the range of the p in this equation here. Simple. So again, all you have to do is to find the critical value of 4p squared minus 20p plus 9 equals to 0 first. Okay, so this equation here can actually be written as 2p minus 9 bracket and 2p minus 1 equals to 0. And you can actually get the critical value straight away. But there's also another method. If you're also using the calculator to get the critical value, then press alpha, mode 5 and 3. So put all the ABC value. A would be 4, and B would be minus 20, and C would be 9. So you can also get the critical value of 9 over 2 and 1 over 2. The critical value of P equals to 9 over 2 or 1 over 2. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the line 1 over 2 and 9 over 2. And I'm gonna put any number that is between 1 over 2 and 9 over 2. Let's say 1, okay? If I put 1 into this equation here, 1 squared would be 1 times 4 would be 4, minus 20 times 1 would be minus 16, and 16 plus 9 would be equals to minus 7. Minus 7 is a negative sign, okay? So I will just put negative here. And if I put any number that is smaller than 1 over 2, let's say 0, okay? 0 is somewhere around here because it's smaller than 1 over 2. If I put 0 into this equation here, 0 square is equals to 0. 0 times 4 is equals to 0, minus 20 times 0, which is also 0 minus 0 plus 9, which is 9. 9 would be a positive value, so I will just put positive sign here. And for one more, okay, any number that is greater than 9 over 2, let's say 10, okay, because 9 over 2 is actually equals to 4.5, okay, so if any number that is greater than 4.5, you can try to substitute back into this equation. If I put 10 into this equation, 10 squared would be equals to 100, 100 times 4 would be equals to 400, 400 minus 200 would be equals to 200, and 200 plus 9 would be equals to 209. So 209 would be positive. The sign here would be positive. And they want me to find the value that is smaller than 0. So which would be between 1 over 2 and 9 over 2. So this one would be the final answer. 1 over 2 smaller than the p, and the p would be smaller than 9 over 2. And this one would be the final answer. Okay, so for the part A, for the marking, 1 mark for getting the equation right, 1 mark for using the right method, 1 mark for working, and I guess 1 mark is for showing the final step. And for the part B, also carries 4 marks. 1 mark is for the method, 1 mark is for the working, and 1 mark for getting the CV, and 1 mark for finding the range. Okay, let's do one more questions here and we're done with this topic. Okay, you guys done a good job. Thank you for sticking with me so long. Okay, for part A, okay, for question 6 part A. Okay, by the way, this is actually a C1 module, May 2017, question 9. For part A, part 1, okay, they want us to draw a graph for this equation here. Okay, so first thing we have to do is to make a graph first. So this one will be y and this one will be x. And this one obviously is a straight line because y equals to mx plus c, right? Okay, so it should be plus c is a positive y-intercept and minus 3 is a negative gradient, so it should look something like this. Here we go. And this one here should be 0.c, will be the y-intercept, and this one will be the equation for y equals to minus 3x plus c. And for the part B, they want us to sketch the graph 1 over x plus 5, okay? So for this part, I'm gonna draw two graphs in order to show the transformation for the graph. Okay, so y and this one is x, and y and this one is x. Okay, so for the first thing here, I'm gonna sketch the graph of 1 over x. So basically 1 over x is something look like this, okay? The line is not touching any x-axis or y-axis, so it should look something like this. Okay, so if 1 over x plus 5, what does that mean? Means that the whole thing here move up to 5 units. So if I draw dots line here, this one would be y equals to 5. And the line here is not touching y equals to 5 and is also not touching the y equals to 0. Then this graph should look something like this here. So this one will be y equals to 1 over x plus 5. Okay, so for the part B, they want us to show that 5 minus c squared is greater than 12. So the information I have at the moment is y equals to minus 3x plus c meets the curve of 1 over x plus 5 at 2 distance points. What does that mean? So if 2 distance point, which is b squared minus 4ac, would be greater than 0, okay? So all we have to do is to make it minus 3x plus c is equals to, this equation is equals to this equation. So 1 over x plus 5. And the next step is times everything by x. So minus 3x squared plus cx equals to 1 plus 5x. And next step would be minus 3x squared plus c minus 5, c minus 5x. And I'm gonna move 1 from the right to the left. Minus 1 equals to 0. So now I have A, B, and C. Okay, so if I substitute all the value A, B, C into this equation here, C would be C minus 5 square minus 4AC minus 3 times minus 1 greater than 0. Okay, so next step here would be I'm gonna take negative 1 from C minus 5, okay? So it would look something like this, because I have to show 5 minus C squared. So this is how I have to do this. Minus, because minus 3 times minus 1 will be 3. 3 times 4 will be 12, greater than 0. Negative 1 squared would be positive 1. So next thing I have got is 1 times 5 minus C squared. I'm not going to touch this thing here. I'm just going to copy it down. So square would be minus 1 square and brackets 5 minus C bracket square. Greater than, I'm going to move this value to the right because I have to show this equation here. Greater than 12. And the final step will be everything times 1 will be that thing. So 5 minus C square greater than 12. And this is how I prove it. Okay, for the part C. They want us to find the range of the positive value of C. So if 5 minus C square is greater than 12, okay? Now, let's assume that 5 minus C square is equals to 12. Because if you see the arrow here, it's actually quite complicated to deal with the whole thing. So I'm gonna make it as equals first. I'm gonna get the critical value of C, okay? So 5 minus C equals to plus or minus root 12, which is plus or minus 2 root 3. And therefore, minus C would be equals to minus 5 plus or minus 2 root 3. And C would be equals to 5 plus or minus 2 root 3. The critical value of C would be 5 plus 2 root 3 or 5 minus 2 root 3. So I'm going to make a line graph, and 5 minus 2 root 3 would be here, and 5 plus 2 root 3 would be on the right, because 5 plus 2 root 3 would be greater. So it's actually pretty hard to see the accurate value. Okay, I'm gonna calculate what is this value first. This one would be approximately 1.5, and this one would be approximately 8.5. Okay, so if I substitute any number that is between 1.5 and 8.5, let's say if I put 5, okay, 5 would be between the number 1.5 and 8.5 here. If I put 5 into this equation here, which is 5 minus C square minus 12. If I put 5 into this equation here, 5 minus 5 would be 0. 0 square minus 12 would be negative 12, which would be negative sign here. And if I put any number that is greater than 8.5, let's say if I put 10, okay, 5 minus 10 would be minus 5. Minus 5 squared would be 25. 25 minus 12 would be equals to 13. So 13 would be positive sign. And if I put any number that is smaller than 1.5, if I put 0, okay, let's say 0. 5 minus 0 would be 5. 5 squared would be 25. 25 minus 12 would be 13 as well. So this one would be positive sign here. And they want me to find the value that is greater than 0. Because if I move 12 from right to left, I will get this equation here, greater than 0. And that is what I need to find. So I can see the value here, greater than 0. What number is greater than 0? Number that is smaller than 1.5, which is 5 minus 2 root 3, or value that is greater than 5 plus 2 root 3. However, we also need to know one more thing, is C here is a positive constant. Therefore, C has to be greater than 0. So the final answer would be 0 less than C, and C would be less than 5 minus 2 root 3. And another answer would be, or x is greater than 5 plus 2 root 3. And that would be the final answer for part C. Okay, so let's do the marking now. Part 1 and part 2 were 4 marks. So 1 mark is for correct straight line and gradient and correct y intersection. For the part 2, 1 mark is the correct equation for 1 over x, and another mark is for the correct equation for the whole thing here. And for the part B, it carries 3 marks. 1 mark is for getting the first equation here, and 1 mark is for the method, and I guess 1 mark is for the final showing. And for the part C, it carries 4 marks. 1 mark is showing this correct CV, 1 mark for the working, 1 mark for the final method, and 1 mark is for showing the correct ranges.